everybody, it's Mindi here with the Something New show where we like to talk about how to create a life worth celebrating. And I'm so excited to bring to you one of my old friends and a great guest to have on the podcast today. And his name is Dan Egan. Hey, Dan.
How you doing?
Thanks for being here.
It's an honor.
And what we want to talk about is some of the things that he does for a living, which is involved with real estate. And actually, let me start by just reading his bio. Okay, so Dan actually graduated. We went to college together. He went to ORU at the same time I did and worked in New York City, where he's from, for a while, and then moved in Colorado Springs, which is how we got to know each other over the years. He quickly got his real estate license, joined Keller Williams Realty, and became one of their top 1% performers in all of Colorado. So that's saying a lot. And he also owns a company on the side called Worship Artistry, and it's a membership site with a catalog of worship song tutorials meant to bring skill and excellence to the worship stage. And most importantly, he's been married 21 years and has 3 awesome children.
Yes.
And he is also a Christian, which is awesome because we can share that connection.
Last I checked.
And yeah, I love it. How old are your kids again, Dan?
Hannah's 17, Ryan is 15,
Okay.
and Hallie's 11.
Ooh, fun ages.
Yeah, it's fun.
Okay, well, we might get into that. But what I'd like to start out with is I have listeners that are from all different stages of life. Some may be thinking about buying a home. Some maybe have a home and want to dabble in investing for the first time. And then possibly people that are already investing and thinking about creative ways that they can look at the current climate of real estate. Yep. So why don't we start with just you tell us what's going on in real estate right now in 2023? What should we worry about? What should we not be that worried about? But it seems like everywhere on the internet wants to freak you out about interest rates and the economy. And I think there's a lot of opportunity in those times, even if we are told otherwise. So talk to us about the climate, and then maybe speak to those 3 types of people, where they're at in their financial place. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a good question. I mean, since 2004, when I got into real estate, I've seen all the swings, the ups, downs, buyers markets, sellers markets.
You've seen it all.
I've seen it all. So the last 10 years, though, has been ridiculous. Just the upward trajectory, just a strong sellers market, but rough for buyers. I mean, multiple offers on everything, right? And then, but the rates have been so low. So it's like, well, I don't mind overpaying because I get 2.5% rate, so no big deal, right? So people kept doing it, but it just was not sustainable. So we are in a different market now. So last quarter of 22, things really shifted because the rates went up, like doubled, and people started freaking out.
From 3 to 6, is that what we saw in the last quarter?
I mean, early 22 it was like 2.5%, and we ended the year at almost 7%. So
that's a big jump in one calendar
triple.
year. Yeah.
But they were in the 3s in September, and then all of a sudden they were in the 6 range.
Wow.
Yeah, and then it did get up to 7. So, it's really hard for buyers, especially first-time home buyers, when you've got inflated prices. You got the median income here in Colorado Springs is $500,000-ish. Mm-hmm. At 2.5%, it's 3%. It's it's doable. And then you triple the rates to 7% or whatever, then their payment goes up, $800 or $1,000 a month, and they can't afford it.
Right. And then they're forever in this renting bubble.
Yeah.
And it's where's my future going? Which probably leads to some of the discouragement of Gen Z in general in the workplace, because they're like, when will I be ever able to?
I think we priced out an entire generation of buyers.
Yeah.
And so, but we didn't. I mean, so what happened with the higher rates is values started finally coming down.
Okay.
Yeah. And so the demand went down, and hopefully inventory will go up. It did a little, and it is better, but it's still not where we need it to be.
Okay.
So I was hoping we were going to see more of a decline in values, but January started off pretty strong, where the demand went crazy high. Well, what happened?
Now, in
rates
our
went down
market
again.
too, and I was going to say it also depends on your market. We're so fortunate, Dan, that we live in Colorado Springs, because I think of different parts in the country where maybe economies are drying up or types of workforces are drying up. We are so fortunate to live in a town that's continually seeing growth, that has a lot of the same values that say come here, find some work, grow your family,
Right.
all that. But continue.
Yeah, no, we are insulated from the big swings that we will see in some of the other markets.
Okay.
So we're insulated, so we're a little safer. I mean, the way to do it is funny. Nobody knows this, but you got to look at moving companies, like moving trucks, and they'll tell you, are more trucks leaving or coming? Like basically, are more people moving here than leaving, right? They have that data, and more people are moving here than leaving. So it's pretty, and they have jobs. So as long as they have jobs, then our market will stay strong. And so, but if values come down a little bit more, which is great, that's why I've been saying to a lot of people, it's time to think about investing. So if it's a first-time home, do it. Because
essentially what you're saying is if the price of the home comes down enough to match the fact that the interest rate is going up, your payment's still about the same.
Yeah. Well, rates did jump down a little bit, which is stimulating some demand right now. But there's creative ways to get into a home for a lower payment. Have you heard of the 2-1 buy down?
No.
So I'm not a lender, but you can if a house has been sitting on the market for a few weeks, which is finally starting to happen.
Like not 24 hours with multiple offers.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So buyers actually have a chance to think about it for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Well, they can also negotiate a little bit. You can get, instead of a price reduction, you can ask for like $8,000 or $9,000 concessions. You can use that money to buy the rate down. So let's just say rates are at 5.5% right now. You do a 2-1 buy down. The first year, your rate is 3.5%, and then the second year, 4.5%, and then 5.5% locked for 30 years. So it's a cool way to like kind of
edge your way in. Because in theory, hopefully in 2 years from now, you've gotten some promotions or raises or making more money so you can build up to that house payment but still get into a house.
Yeah. Now you have to qualify for that 5.5, right?
Right.
But it's just a great
Is
way
it still that 20% down, I'm assuming?
No. You can do 5% down.
For first-time home buyers.
Yeah, absolutely. You can actually do 3% down. Yeah, you can. So first-time home buyer. And
you just have to pay that extra interest, right? The
conventional financing, the minimum down is 5%, or there's a program like a CHAFA program that's 3% down. The rate's a little higher on that. I don't like it. 5% down with good credit will get you a great rate. 20% down.
Do you have to pay? Is it called PMI?
Yeah.
Do you have to pay that though on top of your mortgage payment? But it's still you keep your cash, which I've been told is the way to be. Keep your cash.
Yeah. If the rates are low, you're borrowing money cheap, then do it.
Yeah.
So, and then if the rates go down in the future, which, could happen. I don't know if we'll see in the 2s again, but
yeah,
they can always refi out of it.
So what I hear you saying is if you're a young person and you have not bought a home and you're looking to buy a home, to go for it, but pick a good market. Hopefully, I mean, if you're working remote and you can pick a city, pick a city that's growing, right?
Right.
But if you're not working remote, you're stuck in that area, wherever, maybe not stuck, maybe you chose that area, but whatever area you chose, to go for it, because explore some lending options. It's a good investment long-term to always own real estate. Yeah.
If you got to rent. I mean, if you just don't know you're going to live there for a year, then fine.
Yeah.
But not long term.
Okay, so now let's talk about the person that owns a home and is looking to invest in real estate again.
Yeah.
But maybe it's just a baby step, like a second home. Should they do a long-term rental, a VRBO, to a place they like to vacation? I mean, what would you say?
Well, so definitely invest. If you do long-term rentals, that's a little bit safer, but you may make less money. If you do short-term rental, like Airbnb or VRBO, you can make a killing. You know this.
Yes.
You can make a killing, but the governing bodies of our cities across the country are cracking down on Airbnbs.
I have an opinion on that. I think it's because the hotel business is hurting.
Yeah.
And so they're putting a little, tension on these Airbnb owners. So I would definitely say we have to check our local laws of wherever you would want to buy to make sure you can Airbnb more than 100 nights a year, whatever it might be.
Yeah. And HOAs are cracking down. Mm-hmm. But Colorado Springs, there were so many of them. So they started permitting it. And now they're saying, if you're an investor, you can't do it within city limits. We'll allow you to rent out your primary property, but you're not allowed to just buy an investment property and do short-term rental full-time.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I get it as far as like the neighborhood, right? Let's just say you live in a house and your neighbor is Airbnb in it full-time and there's a party every weekend and music.
Yeah.
And then, people speeding through. It's So I get it in the sense of keeping our communities more owner occupied. But yeah, it's also like I'm for less control, less government, right?
Yeah.
So there's pros and cons.
Yes. Well, and I think that maybe you could designate certain areas of, I mean, I'm not in the government or anything, but like where it's like, okay, this is like a reasonable amount of Airbnb in this area versus if you want to pay more for your HOA, maybe it's a little bit more protected. Okay. So then that leads me to, let's say somebody says, okay, I'm going to buy not an Airbnb. I feel safer getting a long-term rental. Yeah. Do you have any strategy on that?
So that is the safest way. You buy the house. You got it. This now, a loan on investment property is at least 20% down. That's for investors. Okay. Before we were talking about primary buyers, you can do 5. If you're an investor, you're going to have to put at least 20% down because to the lender, it's more risk. So they make you put more down. And the rates are a little higher too. Okay. But it's not bad.
So that's important to note. I want to make sure people heard that. If you're buying a second home, you do have to put 20% down because you're an investor now. Yeah. It's not your primary. Correct. Now, I've heard of some people then renting out their first home, buying another home, making that their primary. Yep. And then just bumping up every few years to a little bit better house and renting the last one.
You totally can.
Because then you get to put the lower amount down. Right. You get the better interest rate because it's not an investment property. Yeah. So it is a smart approach.
But you got to live in that. You got to live in the home at least 6 months, or you can.
Oh yeah, like they 2 to 5 years. Yeah. In a home, and then they bump up.
Do it. Do it. Yeah. Just sell your primary, buy another primary.
I mean, I'm kind of advising my children to do that. Yeah. But you know.
Yeah. So like for me, I'm looking at. There's 2 houses right now. I'm looking at buying. Being in real estate, I get more opportunities, and there are actually 2 houses that I was supposed to list, and I think I'm just going to tell the seller,
I'll buy them.
Let me just buy them, and I'll.
Must be nice, Dan.
I know.
Okay.
So because they'll net the same. It's like, hey, don't fix it up. Let's not go through the house.
The hoopla of all the listing and showings. I'll just buy your house.
There's no doubt we get the better opportunities, but I have
tell us what you were thinking about that, because you had a really, before we started the show, you had a good idea about that.
Well, I've been helping investors for 19 years, right? And the only time it goes bad is when the renters are nightmares. I mean, when they trash the house, they don't pay on time, they're nightmares. And these laws really protect tenants. So if you have a bad tenant, it can make your life a living hell, right?
Right.
But the investors that have had great success, the first thing they say is like, oh, I've been blessed with such great renters, right? So I was like, well, I'm just going to flip the script on this for my investing. I'm going to find the renters first. And I'm going to say, where do you want to live? What kind of house you want? And then I'm going to, as long as the numbers work out for me, I'm going to buy a house for them. It's my house, and they're just going to rent it. So I already have 3 families ready to go that will sign 2-year leases. And I will know the renters. I trust them. 2 of them are contractors, and they were like, oh, we'll paint, we'll fix stuff up. Like, man, this could be really cool.
Well, amazing idea. And I feel like just specifically for your line of work, if there's realtors listening, I'm like, that's brilliant to say, hey, I help these people and these people. Why don't I become the investor?
Yeah.
And marry these opportunities, because I know about both of them.
100%.
And eliminate a lot of, I mean, now you might feel like some clients are going to feel like you're stealing your competitor now.
Yeah,
essentially, you're a competitor. But I mean, it's not like you can be buying 2 houses like every month or something. So you'll do these and then keep your eye out for another one, and there's still opportunity for everybody.
I think 2 houses a year would be amazing. In 10 years, you got 20 houses. You can retire. You got the income, and other people paying it off for you.
And likely the vacancy rates are different in the sense of like, not all 20 houses are going to be vacant at one time.
No.
So let's say 2 at a time are always vacant. At least every month.
Not a problem.
You're flipping, somebody's leaving, coming, or whatever.
And then Colorado Springs, it's a hot rental market. So you can rent a house out in 5 seconds here because people are in and out,
Okay. What would be some those are a lot of do's. Yeah. Like, hey, you should do this, you should do this. What are some don'ts?
Yeah. Don't. Well, you have to have the capital, right? So the 20% down. I've seen investors put their life savings on one house, and that's scary because if they can't even afford one vacant month, right?
Like if 1 month was gone, they'd be
they're in trouble. So don't. So as long as you're financially secure on it, and be long-term minded. So if the market does go down, If 2023, if it goes down 5-10%, which it could, right? Then you don't care. I mean, meaning like you're not selling, right? Values of homes don't matter until you sell. So you don't ever put yourself in a position where if you're forced to sell at a certain time, it could kill you, right? So as long as they're not forced to sell at a certain time because of financial situation, then it won't matter if the market goes down. So just be prepared financially, and then you're
What
fine.
do you say is best practice? Let's say you're talking to your son now, your 17-year-old.
My 15-year-old, yeah.
Oh,
my
Ryan,
son,
sorry. He's the 15-year-old. Okay, but let's just say he's like out there working a job. He has a house, and he's like, Dad, I think I want to buy an investment property. What would you say? Hey, make sure you have, X amount of months savings in a bank.
Yeah.
You can put 20% down.
Yeah.
What would be like the parameters in which you'd say, Ryan, go for that second house. Go for that investment.
I would say, 20% down minimum, but you got to have 6 months reserves for things that go wrong and things that break, right? Mm-hmm. It's going to happen.
And even including the payments.
Yeah.
Would you say that?
Oh,
too?
yeah, 100%.
So payment plus, incidentals, whatever.
So it's not for everybody.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 43 now. Edit that out, actually. Back in 08 and 09 when the housing crashed, that's really, I wish I was in a position to buy houses then. I just wasn't. So I always told my wife, I was like, the next correction, we're buying houses. That's now.
Okay, so that leads me to my top tier person that's in a season that's like, hey, I've got a lot of extra cash. I've been saving. I think that's really the mindset of a lot of people I know. They're saying when an economy crashes, it's actually a great opportunity time for most people that have been living well up to this moment. Right. So what would you say, hey, if this year does take a little turn, which we've been told a million times that it has, what would be the optimistic news in that? Yeah. With the turn.
Yeah. So, Warren Buffett says, be fearful when others are greedy and then be greedy when others are fearful.
Oh.
That's now.
Yeah.
People are fearful. It's time to be greedy, right? So, values are going down a little bit. I mean, they've been going up so much for the last 6 years. So, who cares, right? Most people are going to be fine.
Yeah.
That's why our market is going to be fine. Most people have equity and they have long-term 30-year low-rate loans, okay? If they do lose a job, which could happen, like unemployment is really low right now, but there's some concern it's going to go up. Mm-hmm. Probably will.
Yeah.
Not a huge deal because they can sell their home and make money, avoid foreclosure. We're not going to see a flood of foreclosures like we did
in 08 because the loan type, the loans are different.
Yeah, they're good loans. And that 08-09 crash was kind of deserved. Like, we caused that by giving out loans to people who had no business buying houses, right? Mm-hmm. But that's been different. So this year, we're going to see values go down a little bit. Not much. Demand is still really high. And it's localized. Colorado Springs, the demand is still really high. Mm-hmm. So, again, we'll be insulated. But as long as unemployment doesn't get too bad, we'll be fine. So I would love another 5 to 10% drop. I know that's weird to hear
from a realtor that makes a.
I think we all should want that because for the longevity of our market.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, it's for the strength of it.
Sustainable.
Yeah.
So I think I got sidetracked there, but
no. I mean, I was just thinking about how Elon Musk actually. I'm trying to remember his quote, but it was something about, "Hey, I love when a recession hits because you start to lose competition and only the good guys, only the brands that stand out the most, only the ones providing the best service, the best product, the strongest companies survive."
Oh, it's such opportunities now because I can go look at houses and make an offer and I'm not going to have to compete against 30 buyers making offers. And then even with the higher rates, the rental market, it got hotter, which raised the rental prices. So now I can go buy a house for less and then get a higher rent.
It's kind of a perfect storm for an investor.
For an investor, yeah.
Yeah.
But even I've got 3 under contract right now. They're all first-time home buyers.
Wow.
2 of them are going to do the 2-1 buy down. The third one didn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's still a great time to buy.
Yeah. No, I love it. And I love I will just put this out there for my real estate friends watching that Dan actually is never in his office. He is like habitually in the coffee shop just next door to something new. So I see him a lot.
Yeah.
And what's funny about that though is you drum up probably most of your business just sitting in that coffee shop all day long. So is that a strategy,
You're
Dan?
giving away my secrets.
Sorry, but isn't that a strategy over there?
It totally is. I have an office. I at the Keller Williams real estate building.
I'm sure you do.
I have one. I never go. I haven't sat at that desk in 9 months. I go to Loyal Coffee. Number one, I like the owners. I like the people that work there. But half of my clients are coming in and out of there. So I get to see my people. Then I get to
catch up with them.
Oh, yeah. And they're always having coffee with someone. So I meet people. I mean, I probably close 10 to 20 extra deals a year just from working
out of a coffee shop.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind, everyone. I mean, I'm not going to lie when I say he sold a few of my houses out of that coffee shop. And so it's real. It is very real. Okay. So I have a few more questions for you that aren't related to real estate, but more because I respect you as a human. So I'd love to hear just in life, whether a moment comes to mind or just maybe as a business owner, as a dad, as just a person that's trying to be the best version of himself, and that can be hard too. What would you say is something that's been helpful to you over the years because of something you went through, or because of, like I said, it could go a lot of ways here, but does something come to mind?
Yeah. Well, when I worked in New York City, I worked for my father. Great guy, entrepreneur as well. And I don't know he never pushed me to entrepreneurship. He wanted me to take over the business, the family biz. Which was selling,
I remember that.
Which was selling poster printers to schools in New York City. So I was in the Bronx, Brooklyn, man. I mean, just driving around. But I just always had this like nagging thought, like I don't know what I can accomplish on my own. I got my father giving me a job out of college. His signature was on my paychecks, you know. So I don't really know where it came from, but I was like, I just want to see what I can accomplish on my own.
Wow.
So I quit there and decided to move to Colorado Springs, where my brother lived, and he works at the church here. And I needed to go find something to do before moving here, and so I sold Christmas trees.
I feel like I should know this about you. This is the first time I've ever heard this. Okay, go ahead.
I just needed like 2 months of work, and there was like a help wanted outside this big nursery. Like it was a huge nursery, like acreage.
Yeah.
And I walked in, and this rough guy is like, "What do you want?" And it was, long story short, it was the first time I like truly learned the value of hard work. I mean, it was brutal, just labor, you know.
Yes.
And I'm not built for that. But no, I think it really helped with work ethic. And then when I moved here, I had no idea what I was going to do. I met a guy who was doing marketing for realtors. So I just started doing that, and I saw, wow, they're making all the money. Why am I not doing that? Mm-hmm. And so that was it. I was like, I'm just going to get my license. I joined a team and just got started and went to some seminars on how to like do relationship marketing. I was like, I'm not going to cold call. I'm not going to door knock, something that a lot of real estate professionals do. I was like, so I'm going to just build a network of friends and take care of them and kind of get referrals that way. And I mean, I could go on and on about the strategy there.
Well, and I'm like 20 years and to be the top 1%.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot.
But I will say it was first few years were good, and then the recession hit, and I got very stressed. I got very anxious. I was actually hospitalized from stress and anxiety. And
during the 2008 time?
It was a little after that. It was my body just broke, or I always say my brain broke. A lot of people deal with anxiety and depression and stuff.
Totally.
And I went through a dark time from just the stress and got help, but it changed my life.
Can you tell me really quickly, like, what physical symptoms were presenting that made you go like, wow, I need help? Yeah,
anxiety is a weird thing. It's like just a constant, dull, nauseous pain and then a fear, a constant fear. It's like just living in fear. I don't know if you've experienced that. It's awful.
Yes.
Yeah, it's awful. It's hard to leave the home, and taking care of clients is like impossible, right? So I went to the hospital and saw a doctor. I was like, am I dying? Like, what's...
And did you have any like chest pressure?
Yeah, and then I had some chest pains because that is a symptoms. But I kind of carried mine in my stomach.
Okay.
Felt sick all the time. Stopped eating, lost a bunch of weight. People are like, what is wrong with you? You look terrible. Oh, thank you.
You're like, thank you so much for noticing.
Yeah. But it did. It changed my life. I got right. My brothers, my friends, the church. I really found God for the first time, really. Like me and him. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because when you're raised in the church, you just kind of, you don't realize it, but you're kind of believing your parents' version of God or your youth pastor's version of God. You don't really find it till later, and usually when you go through something awful. Mm-hmm. So it was awesome, and then from there, it's been fun.
So what would you say if somebody is dealing with anxiety? What helped you? Like, how did you?
Yeah. So don't go quiet. Do not go. Do not isolate yourself. That's the worst thing to do. You have to talk to people. I'm not shy, so I was like telling everybody I have anxiety. I was like,
would you laugh like that when you told them?
Yeah.
And
I was
then
like, I'm going through some brutal
real?
anxiety, and I was shocked at how everyone was like, "Oh, I've been there. I've gone through stuff. Last year, or my."
You're like, I'm not alone. Like everybody has.
Oh my, yeah, it really was amazing.
Well, I remember when you did that for me. I had a panic attack, several years ago, when I was going through something, and you're like, I've had one too. Yeah. And I was like, what? Yeah. We know each other? Yeah. Like, it was like a different level.
Oh, yeah, because we're in the trenches together now.
Yes. I'm like, wow. Like, if you've ever had a panic attack, like a real medical panic attack, it's scary.
It is.
Because you don't feel like you can control anything about yourself. And
you feel like it'll never end. If it's like, this is my life now.
Yeah.
And that's just a lie.
It
is a spiritual and medical certainty that it will stop.
Wow.
It will end. You'll be okay.
So first step is tell people.
Tell people. Tell everybody.
Okay. Tell the world.
Tell the world. And then see a doctor. I would not recommend a family practice doctor for mental stuff because they don't know. They're just not specialized.
Yep.
So see a psychiatrist. And if meds are the answer, which it can be, I think it should be a last resort. But if it is, then at least you have a professional who knows what to put you on.
Did you do anything else? Did you like change your habits every day or get more sleep or?
Yeah, sleep and exercise, right? It wasn't helping at first. I mean, if it's bad, it's bad, right? Mm-hmm. But a lot of church, a lot of prayer, a lot of worship, music.
Which is like been cool because you have this outlet now.
Yeah. And then I just talk to everybody. I mean, clearly I'm not shy about it, and you shouldn't be.
Right.
I mean, number one, I feel like almost everyone goes. I wish the church handled it more and did more for it.
Like talked about it more.
But yeah, it's like
had like.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what would you love to see?
Well, people pray. Anyone go through anxiety and depression? I want to pray for you right now. That's fine, but we need more. We need more resources. Like, look, everyone here has gone through it or knows someone going through it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create resources for you to talk to people because people they will isolate themselves, and that's just, you can't get out of it that way.
Yeah. I just think about how that applies to so much, the isolation piece.
Oh, it's just like there's shame around it, I guess.
Yes. I don't know. Well, and anything you don't feel comfortable talking about, you usually isolate, which then is a downward spiral when you actually were designed to be in community.
Yeah.
To sharpen each other, but not, I don't even think in the sense of making each other better, but like just in the sense of care. It's like, oh my gosh, like even if it's just like, let's go get food right now together. Like you're not going to be alone. Like, let's just go eat or let's go watch a show. I mean, just sometimes not being alone, but having somebody presence next to you in that dark time.
Life savings. And I always say, I don't trust people that have never been through anxiety or depression. I mean, it's mainly a joke, but there is something to be said about. I mean, do you know anybody truly great that has never been through something tough? Right?
Oh, it's the makings of someone.
Right.
Great. It's the recipe for the greatness.
Right.
Yeah.
So I respect and love people more when they've been through something. and talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'd like to find out, Dan, in an ideal day, not like, okay, vacation day, Dan, or something like that, but like an actual, like, hey, I just went home tonight and I feel like telling Amanda, man, I just had the best day. Like, what would that day look like to you?
Oh yeah, I know.
I mean, besides being on the Something New show, I mean, like, that's obvious. But anyways, what's like the best day?
All right, so get up without an alarm, okay?
Okay.
And I don't sleep in.
Yeah, just to not be a startled.
Yeah, just get up whenever. So whatever, 7:30 or whatever. Coffee with Amanda. So Amanda and I get up. We have coffee every morning. It's the only time we can ever connect and talk about anything. So we have like these 2 chairs, and I have music playing, and we just have coffee. So got to start with that. It helps the marriage. Helps, you know.
That's a good healthy habit.
Yeah. Thanks.
I'm proud of you, Dan.
Well, thanks. And then, then I go play golf. I'm addicted. I play 30 to 40 rounds a summer.
What about in off season? Do you still have golf or no?
No, I get very depressed. No, I'm just kidding.
He's over at Top Golf. Don't tell anybody. No, I'm just joking.
So in the spring, summer, I mean, you could play 8 months of the year here. And so that's it. Coffee in the morning, and then I go play golf. And then after golf, I go to the restaurant with my buddies, have some bourbon. Yep. I'm a huge bourbon fan. I like to study the distilleries and how they're made. So I'm kind of a student of that world. I'm not a heavy drinker or anything, but I love a good bourbon, a sipper, and I have several favorites of that. And then have the family come for dinner at wherever I'm. You know, we're members at a club here. They can come and have dinner, and that's a perfect day. That's a great day.
Or you just go to bed at night and you're like, I loved today.
Yeah, and I realized that none of that involved work. I hope that's okay. It's just a day off.
Yeah, no, but it's a good day.
Yeah. Now my investment properties made me money, so it's okay.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's right. Okay, I love it. Well, I mean, if you are in Colorado, I always tell people he's the best. So he's a great realtor.
Thank you.
And you know where to find him, just at the coffee shop next to Something New.
Loyal Coffee.
So he's definitely available there. But I just love hearing a little bit more of your story today, and I hope some of our listeners can resonate with the ambiguity of tough things and how it can roll and spill over unexpectedly into all areas of our life, but that there can still be the other side and joy and freedom and success. And I mean, like you said, it seems like you're going into this climate a lot more optimistic in a better place, mentally than when this happened years ago. So I hope this can encourage some of you guys too to see this year as an opportunistic future rather than naysaying all the negative doom and gloom, which I think is great press. But
sure.
I still like to keep a positivity look on, hey, even if something crazy happens, what are some great options for me to use whatever's about to come for the benefit of our future. And so I appreciate you sharing. So I end every show with getting our guest favorite drink. So today Dan has selected. Go ahead, tell us what you
This is the iced hibiscus tonic.
Okay, and do you know what hibiscus is, Dan?
No.
Okay.
Is it a plant?
Yes, it's mostly people use it in tea.
Is it a tree?
Yeah, I think it's a plant,
flower?
but I think it's a plant, and I just had to ask you if you knew what it was because you sounded so sophisticated, and I was like, watch, he knows nothing about it.
Put your pinky up when you drink it.
Yeah, right? And then it's mixed with tonic?
Yes, it is.
So it's like a cute little
fruit. Non-alcoholic.
If you're listening and you can't see us right now, it's kind of like a pink iced drink, and it kind of looks like a sparkling water. Yeah. But we like to
very manly.
We like to end with some cheers. So can we say cheers?
Cheers.
That was awesome. I'm gonna try your hibiscus tonic.
Yeah, I want to know what you think.
Ooh, I love it. Very refreshing.
See?
Very refreshing. Well, if you guys enjoyed today's episode, make sure you follow, share, and tell your friends about the Something New show. And we hope you guys are doing well. We'll see you soon. Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe to the show, rate, review, and share with a friend. Also, follow the Something New show on Instagram and Facebook. If you want a fuller experience, watch the show on YouTube to help you create a life worth celebrating.